I've been running in circles, hit 10,000 miles of pavement, trying to make it all make sense. I've been underslept, overworked, overstressed, I'm exhausted, but I got you.
Welcome to episode 1 of Sailing Solaris. 3 hours, that's how long we'd owned this boat. The ink on the paperwork wasn't even dry. We'd only just left the marina, really, and we just found out at the worst possible moment that we had no reverse. Yeah, we should probably start at the beginning. This is Sailing Solaris, a Sun Odyssey 410. Fresh out of 7 years of service as a charter boat. And as of today, she was officially ours. Me and my wife have been talking about doing this forever. Not borrowing, not chartering, actually owning a boat. And with everything that comes with it. Everyone warns you about buying a next charter. She's had hundreds of crews, 1,000 hard landings, and as we were about to discover, at least one secret she was saving for her new owners. Paperwork signed, keys in hand. All was left was one small job. Move her to Shepherd's Marina. How hard could that be?
So yesterday we did our test sail in the morning. We literally dropped the guy back, signed on the final dotted line, and had a glorious day sailing. Absolutely bricking it the first time docking. First of all,
Should say we had another skipper on board to help us with this. So this isn't all me, and it's not all him.
Just yet.
Not going to throw out his name because he is a bit of a legend, to be fair. But we basically came in, no tides, no real wind, everything was fine. Coming in, bit of reverse to swing basically our arse in, and then bang. It's going to be a costly mistake.
A nightmare.
An absolute nightmare.
Day one nightmare. For anyone that hasn't been into Shepherd's in the Isle of Wight before, the berth we were going into in that marina is kind of shaped as a U, with a concrete dock ahead.
Yeah, we were on the starboard side, but bows were port side too, and it wasn't tight. It was not tight. You know, my heart has been out my chest. Jamie's screaming at me, slow down. The ski are going now. We are rocketing. Like you've got to imagine, I've gone reverse a couple of times, Skip's gone reverse, full panic, Jamie's on the bow, anchor's hanging in half. And luckily the skipper, who was a lot more experienced than us, clearly, he was like...
Last minute decision to try and turn the boat, because otherwise we were going to drive head on into the concrete.
We really only had a few seconds to make a choice, looking at the concrete dock ahead or pray that by some miracle we can make some sort of turn. And if you keep watching on, I think you will see we're about to have a lot of apologising to do.
There she is, the boat we crashed into. One of sailing. Couldn't write it. Don't know if you can see on here, we've actually damaged the metalwork on her. There's some GRP damage. Could have been a lot worse. Not going to get on her, she's obviously not mine, and breaking her isn't great, but our entire anchor was resting on her bow. The greatest start to sailing, but day one can only go up from here. Come on, first crash.
Laughable. I'm just messaging some people.
The bit that actually caused the crash. So all the ferrule on the inside, it's the wrong nut. So it's completely different to the other one.
Disconnected the lever to kick the engine into reverse.
Here is what meant we literally had no reverse. That's where the bolt came out. And this is me having a lovely chat with a gentleman asking how much this is likely to cost, given that it was a bolt that caused all this drama.
So, the big question on everyone's lips, why did we buy an ex-charter boat when probably most people you speak to say that's absolutely crazy and that's not the kind of boat you want to buy, specifically for your first boat, when we have very limited knowledge of general boat maintenance, upkeep, how to fix anything ourselves. The list goes on. But I think a really big reason was bang for your buck for the size of boat we wanted and what we could afford to spend. It was, in a way, a really good deal.
I mean, she's 41 foot. She's
Yeah.
a Sun Odyssey 410. There's just no way we'd be able to afford that brand new. The X Charter was pretty much giving it away. Naivety of it. It looks really nice. Look at the size of the room. Probably that naivety of buying your first boat,
Yeah.
where you're kind of like, space is king. Which, the more we've sold it, especially parking her without a bow thruster, which we'll get onto, my days is challenging. But
Yeah.
why else do you like it? You liked the swim platform, didn't you?
Yeah, a key requirement of mine for when we one day get to the Med was to have a really nice swim platform. We have 2 small kids, and I thought, just in terms of their enjoyment off the back of the boat, the swim platform would be good. Obviously, we've literally never really or hardly used it.
We have
being in
used
the
it.
UK.
We have used it.
To
We
catch
haven't actually
jellyfish, but that's about it.
And crabs.
True.
Ember likes catching crabs. That's an important
That
part
is
of
true.
it. Why an X Charter? Essentially, if we're being completely honest,
Yeah.
it was driven by cost, what we could get for that price, and ultimately, I suppose, in terms of kids and having the room for them to actually play
Yeah.
downstairs or put them in different rooms whilst we're parking.
Yeah, I think also longevity. So the boat has been a really big long-term goal for us, and I think finally being able to achieve that, having a boat that is going to last us as our kids grow up and they want to have friends on board, we want to have friends on board.
Well, we hope
having
so.
Space to accommodate everyone, which again, some people might think boat's too big, you can still do all those things. But going into it, that's basically what we wanted, and that's how we could afford to get a boat the size that we thought would be good for us long term.
Yeah, and we also thought, because it was, I suppose we went against the grain, we were kind of thinking the fact that it would have been maintained by a company, that they would have taken great care.
With the reverse lever repaired, we thought Solaris would be back up and running, but spoiler alert, that lasted about a day. We ended up having an engineer to come out to check the engine, wanting to make sure we could avoid any further mishaps, and turns out our whole gearbox was worn down and needed, no, not just refurbishing, but a full replacement. A brand new gearbox we had not budgeted for on a boat we had bought one day prior. Which brings me to the red jet, because when your boat is stuck in Cowes while you wait for parts and your life isn't, this ferry became a weekend commute. I didn't even know this ferry existed until we bought this boat, and over the next month we'd be back and forth more times than we could count, working our way through all the minor cosmetic jobs we were aware of before purchasing her. Everyone says owning your own boat is an endless list of jobs, and Solaris is no exception. Maybe a handful of jobs larger than we anticipated, as I hopefully watched my fully enclosed bimini we had budgeted for sail off into the distance. But that's a story for the next episode. If you want to see what a cosmetic job list turns into on an X Charter boat and what a new gearbox actually costs, subscribe and we'll see you on board next time.